This is recommended and required reading. We're doing a little Gary Vaynerchuk crushing it, some liner note action, get some ideas for content. And some videos are kind of planned, and the ones that are off the cuff are off the cuff. But it's important to get knowledge. There's an old saying that everything that's taught is learned from somewhere else. So make no mistake that a book is primarily ideas, especially one that's kind of educational. And so I got this a couple of years ago, well, at least a year ago, and I read a few pages, and like a lot of people, shiny object syndrome, I thought it'd be the solution to a lot of my financial and creative problems. But in terms of accountability and doing the maximum required amount of videos a day, we're going to get into some liner note action, and then that way you can figure out what to read and then kind of apply it to your business. So this will be part one. I'm actually going to go backwards in time in a way and go back to the beginning. And so I started all the way back at like chapter 14, and talks about podcasts. And so I got some notes here. I don't want to use those words. Here's one I made earlier. It's not quite like that, but while I was waiting for this video to upload, had to do something. So most people aren't comfortable on camera, and so I started to write that down. And the way that equates is, maybe you don't like the way that you look, but really, who gives a crap? You got to change that. Maybe you like the sound of your voice. So I've never got into podcasting. YouTube videos have always kind of been like my main go-to for production and whatnot. But hey, that could be another liner note. So anyway, most people think they look stupid and they worry about their hair, their glasses, or their makeup. And like the notes I started to write about it is that if you're worried about stuff like that, any day you're alive on this planet, and you're not just like chilling out at the weekend, or I don't know, you should make sure you're kind of presentable like at any given time. And so anyway, you really got to get comfortable being uncomfortable, and that's said a lot these days, but a lot of people out there, probably you, a lot of people don't challenge themselves. It's easy to get in comfort, go back to comfort, but it's not going to challenge you or change you. Anyway, they fuss over lighting, and none of it matters. Well, you can see the lighting in here is like pretty crappy, but you know what? It's a good workman never blames their tools. You just got to kind of get through it. None of it really matters, but it's enough to distract most people from convincing on providing the best experience they have for their viewers. Podcasts are far less intimidating. Like I said, going back to, you might not like the way you look, but you like the way you sound. You might hate the way you sound, but you're okay with the way that you look. So what podcasts do is they sell time, which everyone, including people who rock on camera, should try to create one. I guess it goes back to what I was talking about, doing something a little different in your marketing. In this hyperspeed world, multitasking is everything, and it's a lot easier to listen to a podcast while you check your emails and pay your bills than to watch a video. In addition, as of 2014, there were 139 million total commuters in the United States. Well, that can kind of equate pretty well to the rest of the world. And a lot of that commute time is spent in cars, and drivers, watching, video clips, for now, like it says here, for now. And they can, however, easily listen to podcasts in the information age. Well, you can consume information while you're on the move. You don't have to worry about the video, but then you can have YouTube on and listen to something. Oh, by the way, if the camera cuts out, it means I've run out of room. So, just kind of reading this, some notes that I've taken down is that podcasts are one way of doing it, and you really have to eliminate like self-belief and doubt, and really believe in, you know, what you're doing. Those vibes kind of go out there into the world. And you know, there's an old saying, facts tell, you know, but stories sell. And most people don't even know what the hell to like talk about. Well, you can read a book out loud, get ideas from there, and execute. And this is the start of a framework, something I'm working on. So let's go to the next page. So Gary said he's had a podcast since October of 2014. Well, we're 2020 now, so that was quite some time ago. And you really got to put in the work, you know, it's groundwork. I mean, and this is some other stuff I'm saying like off the cuff as I'm doing the video. So you got to think about how a shuttle gets into space. It uses a tremendous amount of gas and fuel to get up there. But once you're up there, I mean, it's easy to maneuver. Right around the time that the podcast serial produced by NPR's The American Life became a sensation and thrust podcasting into the mainstream. But the truth is, I wasn't following my own advice. At the time, I felt stretched too thin to produce yet another piece of original native content for a platform. Yes, I even reach my own limits sometimes. So all I did was put up the audio from the Ask Gary V show. And the Ask Gary V show was where he still has it on videos, where it lets people call in and, you know, ask questions. And that's original content too. Okay. It didn't do too badly. I was always in the top 25 podcasts in the business category, but I knew with more attention, it could do better. In December 2016, I finally figured out how to rebrand it as Gary V Audio Experience, which is liberating. Instead of exclusively posting Ask Gary V content, now I could post a rant I'd recorded into my phone while boarding a plane, a clip from one of my keynotes, or an excerpt that didn't make it into the Daily V. Interesting variety and creativity helped the podcast's popularity surge. So that's another way. You can take bits of your content and you can reshare it and brand it. And you can kind of like, you know, harp on that. So basically just, you know, like liner note section. I would spend some time talking about that, but I would take notes. I mean, like I said before, everything that's taught, you know, is learned. And when you put something in a book, you're getting ideas from all over the place. And they always say there's a good book in everyone. Where was I? A clip from one of my keynotes. Some of those who listen are brand new to my content. Others already follow me on other channels. Either way, it gives me one more way to share my content, build my influence, and help people get started building the life they want. Now, whether you're uploading into Spotify, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, or Stitcher, or other podcast platforms, there will be very little you can do to differentiate one from the other. Okay, don't let that throw you off. You can run ads on Spotify and SoundCloud, but they're still extremely expensive. That's why, on a liner note here, I prefer YouTube because it is free. Than that as writing this. There are really no original creative ways to build a personal brand within your podcast platforms other than by producing the best content you can. You'll have to promote your show through other social media channels and encourage symbiotic relationships with others who have bigger platforms than you. you know, remember, there's always a bigger fish than you, and there's always somebody smaller than you when it comes to stuff like that. So don't look down on people. You know, people typically want to look up, and if you're doing something creative and influential, in the end, next will tilt and look up to you. So anyway, these are some of my liner notes here that I took. See, podcast sell time. I'm going to talk about that. Day trading for attention, because these days we're trading for eyeballs, people's attention. We're inundated with information overload. Videos and audiobook ideas. Facts tell, stories sell. Podcasts and channel views. Anyway, this is a liner note, and the next video will be based loosely off of that. And don't forget, crushing it. I don't have a link to this, but you can go to all good bookstores. I don't profit anything by this, but there's a lot of audio books out there, so you can get it any way you want. Anyway, this is just something to get done. I didn't follow through all my video commitments today. Ran out of space on my phone. My upload speeds are really bad, and I didn't have all my bandwidth. But anywho, that's it for now. I'll see you later.